Hey, everyone. Glad to be live with you again. I'm here with Tim McCoy, massage therapist and educator extraordinaire here in the Austin area. Me and Tim will proceed to talk trash about each other for about the next hour. It's going to be great.
What kind of trash can I dig up on you?
We're going to talk about probably some Thai massage, massage and body work related stuff. But Tim, can you give people information on where they can contact you, like website, Instagram, any information you want to give them for that so they can contact you?
They can contact me almost any way, especially Instagram, Facebook. I do have a website. You can do that all on Defuse Therapy. My website is actually defusetherapy.tech. And then my Instagram and Facebook is all Defuse Therapy. You can find me on there. I got videos, not as many as you, not doing yoga handstands or anything like that. But not yet. Yeah, you can find me there. And like I said, I'm in Austin, so South Austin, really.
So Tim, what's the first thing that's coming up for you today that you want to talk about? And I know that we could go on forever. This hour is never going to even remotely encompass the conversations you and I have regularly.
Right. Man, there's a lot of things going on, man. I mean, for me, this is, man, I don't really talk about it a lot, but this is almost a year anniversary since I lost my job. We had a clinic here in Austin that shut down, and me and along with dozens of other therapists lost our jobs. So I really had to do a quick turnaround and try to kind of make things happen. So I'm actually been on my own for a year. And this is the second time I've been out on my own. So, I see a lot of therapists, struggling. The struggle is real. The struggle is real. But I think you said, and a person that I was sharing an office with, she encouraged me. She was like, "Tim, the best thing you need to do is just go out on your own. You can do it." And she was really good as well too. Somebody that I'd worked with, this girl named Brittany, I shared an office with. So, I see that there's tons of things flowing through my head, that we could talk about. Continuing education. I saw somebody on Facebook. One of the things that really I've been thinking about. I saw on Facebook a young lady posted, how do you prepare when you go on a mobile massage? And I think a lot of people are doing that now. A lot of my friends went to Zeal after our clinic fell, and one of the things that I was thinking was, self-defense, and in me, I'm definitely a Brazilian jiu-jitsu person. I've been doing jiu-jitsu for 10 years, and I know the change that it instills in another person, and just, how you use it in massage as well too. So those are the things that really, as a female man, it would be I'd be so scared to go out, as a person, in a garage, a dark garage, I'm looking over my shoulder. Yeah. And most people think I'm kind of big. So if I was a woman, those would be the things that I would think about. And those are basically the things that I've been thinking about, just as another therapist, how to make other people safe.
Being an ally as an educator who's a male in the industry, what it really boils down to is I can't change the overall societal structure that we're dealing with. And I tell women in class, listen, my best advice, other than having Tim teach you Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and learning how to use pepper spray and whatever, is just to tell them to build their business. When I say build their business, what I mean is it'll take a couple of years. It may take a couple of really solid, really arduous, a lot of labor years. Find your clients, build your website, build your infrastructure, and build your practice so big you don't take new clients.
Right. And that's actually how, as a male therapist, you seem to protect yourself as well too. A lot of male therapists are, It's easy to get in trouble. I've been in a clinic and I've seen things, where a lot of male therapists get in trouble for things that may not be bad, but it's your perception.
Can you give
It's the
me like
perception
an
that really counts.
idea? Because I've never worked in a facility in any sort of like managerial or real educational capacity long term. Like,
Right.
what's some of the stuff you see that male therapists like they get in trouble? But
Man, it could be something simple as um, an air they give, and at the beginning, it could be something that maybe it's not confidence. They don't show confidence. There's not a connection. And so that just kind of sets off this mood in the session. And it could be a small infraction, it could be the, the draping was too tight, you know, sometimes it's the other way around, but it could just be little things. Sometimes trying to be friendly. I think somebody may talk too much and may say, the wrong thing, trying to make a connection. Just those, simple things. But man, I mean, it's ranged from a husband being upset, because their wife went to go to a male massage therapist, and nothing at all went wrong in the session. So, man, it's hard to combat that when you're in a clinic because you're seeing new people, you're just seeing no people. There's no rapport or anything like that.
Yeah.
So building your business to where you don't see new clients, or maybe you have referrals directly out from clients that you've had. I think that's one of the best things for both people, for male and female. I think you're totally right on that.
There's so much nuance, and I bring up lots of like romantic and like dating stuff in my classes to try to explain the nuance between like, getting a massage in a clinic, getting a massage in a spa, getting a massage in someone's home studio, getting, at a retreat center. Like those are various geographic locations.
Yep.
And then like going on a coffee date, having dinner, getting fast food, or having like a 6-course French meal. Like there's this range, and it's a little hard because you're teaching some emotional intelligence and interpersonal communication skills, which I don't think are heavily covered in a 500-hour program in core curriculum. It's hard. Yeah. It's hard to convey, and I continue to sort of bump against those things. What I am is very much an ally, and I try to explain to women as easily as I can. These are the ways I think you can avoid certain things. And I also get feedback from other women in my classes to try to supplement and bolster those ideas. And at the same time, building your practice, I mean, even just your website. And the website is this completely digital thing. It just exists in the ether, right? But if you have a good website with photos of you, like if I go to a massage therapist website and they don't have a picture of themselves, I don't care how good the testimonials are.
So that's where we've ran into things in a clinic. There's some therapists that don't want to put their face out because there's guys that'll just stroll through and just look at the faces and be like, that's who I want. And a lot of those times, especially in a clinic, they're creepers. I hate to say that, and I don't want to think that, but sometimes they're creepers, and I think ladies are afraid of that. So putting their name out there. So this is where we kind of come in a slightly different. You have always championed business, build your business. Yes, man, I totally agree with you, man, because I've definitely taken a lot of tricks out of your bag and used them myself. But to me, I think to help reduce, anything is build your skill. And that's what I've found, especially with the girl that I had an office with. Her skill was really, really good. And she knew exactly what she did. And when she got in the session, there wasn't any, can you go harder? Can you go harder 3 times, or can you get this spot? And then, if that happens, a gentleman's mind may go somewhere else. He's like, oh, she's not really doing anything. So it may go somewhere else. So to me, if you have skill and you can apply it right away, I think everything else kind of, goes out the mind. And I think that builds respect. I think that's my opinion.
Also, when I talk about a photo, I have a tendency to think about independent practitioners more so than a public spa, because the spa is the face in a sense, not the individual therapist per se. But beyond photos, it's like blog posts, videos, education, the way the website is structured to select their service and what they're getting. You're setting all this context for what's going on.
Right.
If there's no information on a website or no information on their social media profiles and no photos.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, do you think if they have information on there and not a photo, do you think it's still good? Do you think they'll want to see what it's about? I think that I kind of go with some of the ladies. I think that filters out some of the creepers. If you're really about the body work, you're going to see what somebody has to say. And if they say certain trigger words.
The problem is they're connecting with you. And that's why I say have a photo. Now, you get to control what the photo is. Now, I tell women this all the time. They're like, Robert, how to keep myself safe? I'm like, okay, I want you to go to a shooting range and I want you to shoot guns. And I want you to take photos and videos of that and put it on your website. And then I want you to go train Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu with Tim McCoy. And I want you to take photos and videos of you training in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and put that on your website with that photo. And I want to see how many guys call you who have untoward.
I know it's a joke, but the last person I had my office with, Brittany, she was a gun fanatic. She, on her Instagram, she's shooting machine guns and things like that. She's totally a gun fanatic. So I don't know if those had anything, to do with her retention rate and her, not dealing with so many creepers. I guess you're going to, men and women, so maybe that has something to do with it. But I really think down deep is confidence. And that's what, to me, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu did. When you're shooting a gun, you build confidence in yourself. And when you build confidence in yourself, I think you're able to speak up for yourself in certain situations and actually tell people what the deal is, and this is what I do, this is what I don't do. And, you don't care about, you're ruthless. You don't care about people's feelings at that point. This is what I do, and this is what you're going to get. And, we don't do any of the other stuff. So,
yeah,
that's how.
I don't really think it's either or. I don't think that you and I were arguing about which, position to take. But it is a challenge as an educator. Like, how do we keep women safe? I had a woman in a class ask me, because I was talking about social media, using Instagram or other platforms to build their presence. And the lady said, well, what do I do about stalkers? And I just sat back and was like, oh, man, because you want to say, well, you just have to deal with it. But it's like, what I have to do is I have to tell women to deal with America at this point, which is a really challenging situation.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the answer you want to hear, and it's not the answer I want to hear. I mean, I'm just, I've never been approached with that question before. How do you deal with stalkers? I mean, man.
Block them.
Yes, I'm trying to think of, some people that I would deal with. What would they say? Block them. But, man, if they're, relentless, I don't know. Again, block them and report them. I guess it's easy to report people these days, isn't it? I mean, for almost anything.
In some ways easier, I guess, yes. But at the same time, it's the website, it's your business skill, it's your bodywork skill, your professional presence. Where is your office? What's your location? What kind of work are you doing? There's just if you work on all of it, and it'll take time. It may take several years to build a really burgeoning practice. I think after that point, you don't have to deal with it anymore. Senior therapists who've worked for years, in my experience, especially if they're good, they're not really fighting to get new clients. They're almost like, whew, okay, I need to figure out how to take a vacation. I'm getting stressed out. Right. There's so many people trying to come in. Right. And different issue, because now your great clients are sending you more great clients like them. You've established yourself. The problem is getting to that established place.
Right. It takes a while, man, and, it's said that usually a therapist will last maybe 2 to 3 years and then, fall off into something different. Either they get injured or they can't make enough money starting off. And then, you're right. I think after 5 years, you really start to come into your own. 8 years, maybe you're thinking about teaching. In 10 years, it's totally different. You've gained more experience. You've touched so many different people, and you've made your retention net a little bit tighter. So it takes experience, and you gotta. To me, I gave away a lot of massage, and I still do, because I like to do it and things like that. But that's in building your skill. But how do you stay injury free? That's another thing, and those factors play into building your business.
Quick commercial break.
Hi, y'all. This is Trent Knox, podcast producer for Robert Gardner Wellness Podcasts. We're just taking a real quick ad break to talk about the new holiday sale that Robert Gardner Wellness is putting on. We're giving 20% off to all our listeners, followers, watchers, viewers, everybody who wants to take advantage of the holiday sale. 20% off all digital workbooks and videos. You can go to bit.ly/RGW holiday sale to take advantage of that 20% off. Back to Robert in the studio.
Man.
So, Tim, can you tell people where they can find you again, for people who are maybe just catching us?
Yeah, I'm pretty active on Instagram and Facebook. You can find me on Defuse Therapy on Instagram and Facebook. I do a little bit more interacting there, not as much as you, but you can catch some videos. Also have a website at www.diffusetherapy.tech. You can catch me there. Message me. I'm always open for messages and things like that. So, that's the best way. But man, can I say something real quick? Just listening to your commercial, man, people, and this goes into building your business, man. When I first met you, you didn't have all this. And this was like 10 years, man, almost 10 years ago, I think.
Has it been that long now?
It's probably like 9 years. We're going to, 9 years, I think.
Probably eight, nine, somewhere in there.
9 years. We're kind of in there, man. But, you didn't have this, and you got all this. You got DVDs, you got books, you got a website, you got all these things, subscription service, and people that don't know you may be like, man, this happened all in overnight for Robert, man, and that's not necessarily the truth. It's far from the truth, I met you when you started the Thai Massage Jam, and all these little pieces. It was one piece, and then you add another piece, and then, it just kind of it multiplies, so it takes time, and you gave away a lot of free time, a lot of free time, with the Thai Massage Jams. Golly, that's a lot of time just in itself. So, and you now can see a little bit more success with that. I think, you're communicating with tons more people. It's easier for you to get an appointment. You're not really looking for appointments, so they're just showing up. So that's different from the person that just started. Like the senior person is different from the person that just started. That's inside 3 years. That's even hard for me to think about. What was it like? In my first couple of years. So it takes time, man.
You and I have had conversations about education. And I think one of the things that maybe I don't stress enough in my discussions with therapists is, if you're a therapist and you really want to thrive, try to find somebody who's doing what you want to do or very close, and get them to mentor you. Emulate what they're doing in their practice that works, and then find a mentor if you can locally.
Yes.
It makes a huge difference. Being able to, because I call you, Tim, all the time. Why do I call you?
Yeah.
Well, I have mental health problems that I got to deal with. And it's like, you're a mentor. It allows me to go ahead and, bounce ideas off of you. And I'm like, week-long retreats. And you're like, nah, man, you need to teach 6-hour classes. And I'm like, going back and forth about that. But sometimes it's just, I think what you do is you keep adding things and you keep tweaking the way you're packaging, presenting, putting stuff together. And the biggest boost is when you get a new client and then a client becomes a regular client. Right. And then you're like, ooh, because that feedback loop is so strong. You're like, do that again. Do that again. And I did that again and again and again until I was like, wait, I'm tired. Like, y'all gotta like my bills are getting paid, but I'm dying here, and it's like you have to learn by actively doing it. And I think it's easier to find somebody, especially if you can find a local mentor, somebody you can work with, even if all you do is say, listen, I will buy you dinner if you'll sit and talk with me about your practice and how you're building things, scheduling things,
shooting
to get ideas. Off. Yeah.
Robert, man, that what you just said was the game changer for me. I had a mentor, and even before I started massage, this is the person I went to ask if it was the right thing. I was like, is this good for me? And this was, probably 2002 when I first asked her, about this. 2002, 2003, massage industry was totally different, and so she gave me some warnings, especially as a male massage therapist. She was like, you being a male massage therapist, it may be a little harder for you. And she was truthful. She was like, you being a black massage therapist may be even harder than that, So, but she was like, I don't want to discourage you, but I want you to know the pitfalls and things like that. And so after I went to school, she took me under her wing, and she taught me the difference between a foo-foo massage and real massage, I guess you could say. So, total game changer. And she told me so many things that even now, 14 years into it, I'm learning those things. I'm like, this is what she meant. This is what she meant. So that's, having a mentor is by far one of the best things ever. I have a story, man. She wrote down, and this is in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, okay, closer to Fort Worth in Arlington, Mansfield area. She wrote down a number, and she was like, and I think because I was a black guy, she was like, she wrote down a number. She's like, contact this guy. He knows exactly who I am, and contact him. He'll be a great person to talk to. This would have been the best mentor. This guy's, who this guy's name was? Benny Vaughn. And I'm like, who's Benny Vaughn? She gave me his personal phone number to call, and I passed up on that one. I didn't know who the guy was. I was like, Benny Vaughn, I don't know who the guy is, and just went on my thing, but that right there would have been a game changer for me. I probably wouldn't be doing therapy like I do right now, but who knows? That's just the gold that you get from a mentor.
Yeah. There's so much diversity in the massage marketplace now. You and I spent a lot of time kind of going head to head about table versus mat. And we had a conversation the other day because I went, it's not fast enough. It's got to be fast. Why can't they get, I'm irritated. And you're like, Robert, like I post a photo of my table and my mat side by side. Yep. He's like, not only did I not get any hate mail, but everybody's like, I love this. That was not the case 5 years ago.
No, it wasn't, man.
Like, the industry is shifting. They're seeing more mat-based work. They're seeing more diversity in the marketplace, and I think it's very good for massage therapists because we get a chance to build a little niche practice. It's like, do you want it to be Watsu? Do you want it to be Lomi? Do you want it to be craniosacral therapy? Like, there's so many areas we can get into now that the public understands massage from the stance of what I always call table, cream, glide, and nudity. But they're starting to diversify even more. So people would ask me about Stretch Lab and Stretch Zone. And they'd say, Robert, aren't you worried about competition? And I was like, competition? They're training my market. They're doing what I've been trying to get massage therapists to do for like 10 years.
Right. And it's funny how that's caught on, how that had kind of caught on, but Thai massage hasn't. And again, I think it's the name. Like you were telling me about Reboot when you first started. I was like, dude, do Reboot. Just do Reboot. Drop Thai massage and just do Reboot. Because everybody was saying that, you weren't doing Thai massage. You were doing Thai massage. You weren't doing deep tissue. There was deep tissue. That was the problem. People were saying that you weren't whatever it was you were doing.
Yeah.
And so, you were like, I'm just going to reboot everything. To me, I thought that was the best thing that you could have done.
Well, we're still working towards that. It's like, I'll never be able to bypass what Thai massage has done to my practice, where the roots of it came from biomechanically. But I certainly felt completely comfortable as a Westerner just changing things and saying, okay, for Western clients in my cultural context and for my body mechanics, can I improve this? Now, I think some people would take that as a statement of umbrage, but I think I was successful on all counts. And it's like I still give homage to Thai massage and where the biomechanics came from, but I started looking at pain science and started looking at trigger point therapy, started looking at yoga and yin yoga and, restorative yoga, on and on and on.
Right.
In the end, it was like, can I help people? Because that's how I made money. Can I help people rapidly, quickly out of pain? And can I ease strain on my own body? Whatever that was, when those lines crossed, I was like, go teach that, go teach that, go teach that. And I've continued to do it, and it's worked. But the more it grew, people would say, but wait, this isn't Thai. And I'd go,
right,
okay, I'm a white guy from South Louisiana. When I make curry with coconut milk and chili paste, curry paste, is it Thai? And they're like, ooh. And I go, the same basic idea.
Yeah. I wasn't quite looking for Thai massage when I met you. I came from a personal training background. I went to the Cooper Aerobic Center in Dallas. A personal trainer was what I wanted, and that's what I did first. And I was going to blend massage into that. And me getting injured, I had hamstring pulls. I torn my hamstring. Stretching was a huge part of my healing process, and movement. Still, movement was, jiu-jitsu. You do a lot of movement. You're rolling around, tumbling still. So that was kind of the healing process. And so when I met you, I think I just saw a small YouTube video. I was like, man, that looks so easy, and it's exactly what I want, because you're removing people still, not necessarily stretching them, but you're removing them and still doing what I thought was body work. It was different, but it still encompassed everything. And so what I received from you was still different than what I saw on your video. And that's where you differ from people. It may look like something, but when you touch them, it's different. And it may be skill, I don't know, but that was what hooked me into it. You were able to get to something that no one else got to aside from my mentor that I had.
Yeah.
So it was, that's why I was looking for
some of it. You can get to a point where you start arguing about technique, like you're going to work on the inside of the arm. So when I teach in class, I kind of start where it's like, finger press, palm press. And then I wrote this in one of my workbooks. There was a whole section. I'm like, what if you get tired? Because, dude, I work so much. I just get exhausted. And I would go in and go, well, this feels okay, but what's this? And then I would just lean in. Right. And then kind of
People love that.
And they would go, oh. And here's the thing. It was less work for me, but it didn't seem less effective. It seemed more effective.
More effective.
And it was like you were kind of seeing between the lines, and you go, well, the people get better. You're helping people with pain. Just keep refining that in whatever way you can. Right. And that's what I continue to do. That's where you get to like a branding issue. It's like you get to, I use this in class all the time, Nike, Reebok, and Adidas. Everybody knows they sell athletic wear shoes, but they're three very distinct brands. I feel like long-term, for continued growth, I will have to rebrand to a new name. We didn't get Reboot. That trademark failed. Right. But just, as an individual therapist, it's very, very important that therapists take out their phone and build their personal brand. They have to trust Tim McCoy. They have to trust you as an educator, as a leader, as a body worker, and go, no, you can go see a massage therapist, but you need to see Tim. That's why the picture. That's why I'm saying a picture, because I want the customers, I want the clients to build connections with us personally. And I think that personal connection is really what builds that recurring client base that everybody craves.
But man, what you're saying is it's a hard line to walk, being personable and likable, but not encroaching too much. When do you become too friendly with your client? And that's what some therapists, have asked, and in schools, they want you to be as clinical and apart from the client as possible.
I think
no talking at all, and
here's the difference. I think they're teaching 30 people to get jobs as service providers in a spa.
Right.
And I'm trying to teach the students how to build a private practice based on connection and intimacy with the clients. Now, it's a therapeutic relationship. Quick 5-minute break.
Hi, all. This is Trent Knox, podcast producer for Robert Gardner Wellness Podcast. I wanted to just get in here and let the viewers know over on Twitch. Hi, see you guys there. Archibald03. Nice. Thank you for tuning in. And I just wanted to let you guys know that Robert Gardner Wellness is currently doing a holiday sale, 20% off of all his digital workbooks and videos. If you want to take advantage of that 20% off, you can go to bit.ly/RGW holiday sale and take advantage of that awesome offer. Back to Robert in the studio.
So, Tim, tell them where they can find you again, both, I think, your website and then also maybe your Instagram.
Yes, my website is www.defusetherapy.tech, and it's DFUSE, defusetherapy.tech, and you can find me on Instagram and Facebook at the same thing, Defuse Therapy, as well.
So, Tim, what we were discussing was, going through core curriculum. They're teaching therapists to be service providers to get jobs in spas. They're dealing with a standardized, mostly 500-hour curriculum. And I'm not in any way criticizing core curriculum or school owners. I understand they have a different challenge than we do as continuing education providers. I think in some ways they're going a different route. When you had the marketing of the Yellow Pages, you had to have AAA massage because you had to show up first in the Yellow Pages. And then you couldn't necessarily have a photo unless you paid for an additional ad in the Yellow Pages. The challenge is we can be much more personable in a way. And it's like when you talk about how friendly to be with the clients, I really think in some ways, we don't really discuss politics or religion in session. We don't discuss it at bars, or we don't discuss it in session for good reason. Any answer I may give will be wrong and could ostracize potential clients. But if I'm an extremely conservative evangelical Christian, do I really want to work with people in the BDSM community? Do I really want to work with people in the trans community? And the thing is, if that's not your target market, some people would say don't put your faith out front, but if that's the kind of client base you want, you need to be more friendly with your target market clients. And that's where I can't tell that therapist that that's a wrong marketing strategy. The difference is when we talk about the therapeutic relationship, I feel like therapists spend too much time talking about the fact that it's therapeutic and not enough time talking about the fact that it's a relationship. Having a connection with your clients because it's you, because we have such a deeply intimate service. I'll ask women in my classes, how do you ladies feel whenever you break up with your hairdresser? And they're like, oh, I would rather get divorced. They're like, it'd be easier to find a new husband than a new hairdresser. They know everything about me. That's a different work context where people talk to their hairdresser, but they build strong bonds. And then the hairdresser, if they work on mom, they bring the kids, they tell the husband, they tell their friends, and they're building these social networks of, in-person
But the difference,
referral networks.
the difference is, and for most people, again, you don't use a table, there's no nudity, and there's barely any gliding. For the majority of massage therapists, that's not the case. They're usually in a darker room with oil and glide, and the person is unclothed. And the obstacle is, how do you get personal without them thinking that it's more than just a massage? You understand? And what do you talk about? What are there certain things you can and cannot talk about? Again, most places and clinics don't allow you to talk. And matter of fact, that was probably one of the most complaints in the clinics I've had, is the therapist talk too much. And so they never come back to that person. So, and then at the end of that session, they only have maybe 2 minutes, 3 minutes to say something to the person before they leave.
I think
and that's the majority of the people that I think are watching and things like that.
I think, you and I, and here's some of my bias and some of our potential bias. I think we're really, really good at what we do. And we've developed so much confidence in it that the first thing I think is that if I went to a facility right now, they hired me and I started tomorrow. When John comes in, I go, John, what are you having problems with? It's immediately pain focused. I'm having problems with my upper back. I'm like, okay, do you sit for the bulk of your day? It's immediately about what we're doing. It's not about, hey, do you like the Redskins? Do you like football? Like, no, it's like we're going right to the issue. This guy's only got an hour. I got to hammer this out. But if he comes back session after session, I think some of that repeat business is because they like you.
Right.
They like hanging with you.
And
Connection.
the skill. See, that's where my skill point comes in. You have to have good skill. With you, I think, maybe both of us, we take for granted that, we've been doing this for a long time, and people feel that. They feel that we've been doing it for a long time just from our touch. People will come back for that. And then you have the opportunity to build that relationship, I think, afterwards.
Trust.
But still, do you talk about football? Is that something you talk about? Or what if a client...
I've had people unsubscribe from our subscription service because they say, Robert talks too much. And I say, huh? Hold on. Wait a second. The recordings are sometimes full sessions, but I'm aware that we're recording it like I'm teaching. Like, there are clients who come in and, Tim, I talk. I love to talk. It helps me mentally. You're laughing. He calls me all the time. It's annoying. But the client will tell me, listen, Robert, I know we usually chat a bit more. I really need to just listen. I change the music and I go into complete Zen drone zone. You've never seen Robert move so slow and breathe so deeply. And I jostle and move and sink and compress to the point where after 3 hours, I might as well have to get a spatula and peel them off of my mat. They're so relaxed.
Right.
But it depends on the client. One of the things I did notice is part of the way that I communicate verbally, one, because they only had an hour. Hey, John, what's going on? What's your upper back? They didn't tell me not to do that. What they didn't want me to do is talk about extraneous stuff the whole session.
Yes. Where they have to invest in the conversation. They still want to be involved in the massage, but I feel you. Yeah.
So if I did check in, hey, John, listen, when I'm right here, is that point of pressure, is that too sharp? And he'd say, no, can you go the other way? Can you make it just a little bit sharper? And I would adjust, and he'd be like, oh, all right. That communication, that verbal communication, in my classes, I teach that's very important.
Do you think a lot of students don't do that? Talk to their clients that way?
Yes. because they're taught in school to be a service provider for a very general kind of sequence. And again,
Yes.
depends on the school, depends on the education, but I was a pain management guy. And when I got more communication about pointed, broad, shear this way, shear that way, the client was like, wow, this guy's really focused on like helping me. And
On
when
another
it
level,
was
they can feel it.
client, yep. And the thing is, it's engaging their nervous system. I think I don't want people to be, I don't know. The client doesn't want to know about everything in your personal life.
Right. Right.
They come for a session.
Yes, but if they talk, you don't have to go on with an extensive. I find sometimes, especially maybe it's a new female client, I find they talk to kind of get a measure of who I am a little bit, and I think that may, it's until that point, it's just me in a room with another stranger. you know, and I think there is some talking. Maybe there's not some probing questions, but questions of who are you? Are you just a person that just likes to rub on women, or are you actually in it to really do massage and pain management and things like that? So do you, how much should a therapist talk, and what is it about? Communication is one of the biggest things. And if you talk to them about their issues, what they're having, that's great. And maybe the conversation does slide to something that maybe they, something they're interested in. Maybe their kids have done something, and you can ask about their kids later, or whatever.
I learned how to be almost comedic in how I address stuff. And I remember working on many moms working in a chiropractor's office. And over the course of several sessions, the mom would tell me that, like, she has a 6-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 2-year-old. She's drowning in kids. Like, she's just dealing with kids. She don't want to deal with me. In other words, like, I'm not here to add to her stress. I'm here to take it away. And I would get into that spot in her back. I would like hold her shoulder and lift it up and start digging in her paraspinals right there. And I'm like, ooh, right there. And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, I think that's a
6-year-old.
What is that? I'm like, 6, 4, 2-year-old. That's right there. And then they would laugh.
Right.
But you're making a joke, but it's got some personality. It's hard to say how to deal with clients verbally, because each client is going to be radically different. I do know that I had a stronger rapport with people in chronic pain, and I had a stronger rapport with people who wanted to work on themselves and get better. That was my target market. That was what I kept hammering. And when I worked in a multi-therapist facility, once they had worked with me and they said, nah, I just want the relaxing massage, they would kind of just go off to someone else. And that worked fine for me, because I didn't want to be the service provider who was quiet for 6 hours completely.
Right. Exactly. And, this is another subject, the niche and your target client. And I've always had a problem with that, because one, as a guy in a clinic, just getting a person is hard, man. Just sitting there, you're at Massage Envy, you're sitting there for 8 hours and there's nobody there. And maybe you get somebody in the last 6 hour, and everybody else around you is just piled up with clients, and you get that person that wants that relaxing massage, or maybe all is relaxing massage, and you get somebody that wants that deep tissue. I was the person that wanted to get every single client on my table and keep them. And if I could keep them, then we could modify the massage as we go along to where it's relaxing and they're getting that pain management. So instead of looking for my target client, I was like, man, just get me any client. I'm gonna be awesome, and they're gonna be like, whoa, this is the best thing ever, no matter what they wanted. And that way, as I built my clientele, then I could just pick. Whoever I wanted in a way, work my schedule however it was. And sometimes those people just kept on booking and booking and booking, That was my goal at the point as a male massage therapist, trying to stay booked in a place where the majority of the therapists are female, and that's across all of them, all the places that I've worked.
Hi, all. This is Trent Knox, podcast producer for the Robert Gardner Wellness Podcast. During this ad break, I just want to say thank you again for all the viewers on Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, D Live, Twitter, Africa TV, VK, Vaughn Live, all the viewers that have stopped in, said hello, done everything, and participated in this show. Once again, after it's been released, it'll go on to anchor.fm for all your audio listening desires. Okay, last but not least in this ad break, I want to let you guys know about the RG Wellness, or Robert Gardner Wellness holiday sale that we have. 20% off of all digital workbooks and videos. If you go to bit.ly/RGW holiday sale, you can take advantage of the holiday sale, 20% off all workbooks and videos. Back to Robert in the studio.
Tim, McCoy, thank you so much for coming on. Can you give them information again on where they can find you, both your website, whatever social media?
Yes, I have a website. It is at www.defusetherapy.tech. And you can also find me on Instagram and Facebook under the Defuse Therapy title name there.
Yeah. So one of the things you said, Tim, about, you go in for a 6-hour thing and you don't have a session for some reason till the last hour. The therapists need to be on their phone. And my thought is, okay, how many 12-minute long YouTube videos can you make while you're in that 5-hour chunk? How many Instagram videos can you make? How many people can you network with on Twitter? How many photos can you take and put on Instagram? How many hashtags can you use? How many Snapchats can you put out? I understand some people have different rules in their spas, things like that. Massage therapists, as independent practitioners and as large businesses, they are leaving huge, just gargantuan chunks of real estate out. Because what you get a chance to do is you get a chance to practice your shtick. How do you talk to people? How do you communicate with people? And the good thing about video in particular, you get to watch it again. Right. You get to see, you get a metric. Well, how many people liked it? How many people commented on it? Right. You get a chance to see, how do people work, marketing, sales, packaging, and are you reading books? Are you reading books or watching videos? I mean, I have a subscription service. It's got 400 hours from my classes. You can watch that stuff all day long on your phone.
And I'm from the VHS era, man. I was popping VHSs in all the time, man. Back in the day, I think it was St. John's neuromuscular therapy, something back in the day that I would pop in those videos. Anything I could find, man, anything I could find, I was just scouring. Even with Thai massage, man, I, started, I learned from you, and then I would just go to YouTube, man. I was looking up Thai massage in other languages so that I could get different videos, And then
when you've got multiple therapists in a facility, you're doing education. Why aren't therapists partnering up and practicing on each other? Then why aren't the therapists, let's say it's the two guys are the ones that aren't booked. Okay, so why aren't you shooting each other's videos and learning how to be the camera guy and making better, higher quality video for TikTok, for, whatever, making music videos? Or the platform and reach is just, it's huge. And I think also, I like encouraging educators like you, therapists like you, other of our colleagues. I encourage them to go and educate the marketplace. Tell people what you do. People think massage is massage envy because that's the biggest, largest, provider in the United States. But how many therapists are really taking out their phone and documenting their everyday lives and talking about, listen, if all you do as a therapist, if you work in independent practice and you're tired of laundry, But every day you do laundry, you set up your phone on a tripod, and I want you to bitch about folding sheets for like 15 minutes.
Yep. Yep. I'm telling you, man, I did a video on how to, fold fitted sheets, man. People thought that was the most amazing thing. I was like, I don't know how to fold fitted sheets. That was the first thing I learned, simple things like that. And you're right, taking that time off, if you have that time to post a picture of your room or something, that is great. One of those things that you mentioned, working with a therapist in between that time, if there is a room free, which there should be a room free if you're not doing anything, go trade and practice some moves, and maybe you do take a photo or a video of it. I think that's the best thing. And but some of those establishments don't want you to take pictures. They don't want you to take pictures. They don't want you to take videos or anything like that. Man, and to me,
studios is I'd like those studios to contact me and tell me why they want to give away free advertising, why they want to give up free marketing. Why do they not want to make an extra several $1,000s a month? I don't understand that at all. Yeah.
It's their, when it's a clinic, the therapist works for me. I'm everything that the therapist will need.
Then it's your job as an owner to take out the phone and educate people. And if you're not going to do it, then you just need to accept that I'm going to make more money than you do.
I mean, that's true. But again, as the little guy, what do you do? And that's the thing, as somebody that, I think I was kind of a mentor to a few therapists. They were asking me, they're like, so you make even though you're in a clinic, you have to be your own brand still. Especially to stand out among others. You have to, even though you have another name, that client is coming in and they're feeling your hands. You're the person that they're coming to, and when that facility goes or when you leave, they're going to be looking for you. They do have loyalty to a store sometimes, especially if the skill is mediocre and it's a cheap massage. Of course, they're going to go to the clinic. But if they find somebody that's skillful and and they got a connection, it's that therapist that they're coming to, and that's, and somebody working for a clinic, maybe a manager doesn't want their person to say that, but it's the truth. That's how you make your therapist better. That's how you build your business.
Yeah. The marketplace is changing. There's no reason that the therapist who has the least clients, who's the new therapist, for me, if I was in a management position at those facilities, and if you're a facility here and around Austin, I could come in and do this stuff for you for free and just help you build this into your structure at your office and how you're building your brands on social media. That therapist needs to have videos. They need to feature that therapist. They need to talk about them, their personal traits, what they like to do. They see them on video. They talk about rotator cuff pain. They talk about relaxation and meditation or whatever it is that their focus is. You kind of have to build your personal brand within the overall organization.
Yes. And even taking pictures of the place you work. That's great. I mean, man, that should be a bonus for the establishment. You have a team of 24 to 30 therapists, and they're all taking pictures of the place, that they work at. I think that's beneficial. And you probably end up having less therapists leave as well, too. Therapists are notorious for bouncing to place, trying to find that place where they can get enough money, to survive and have freedom still. So, that was one of the things, I just try to, you asked me at the beginning, what do I want to talk about? And really, I've just been trying to put myself in the shoes of a brand new therapist. What do they have to go through? And in an age of social media, it seems, it's like, man, why are we talking about this? It's the year 2020 almost, and people haven't caught up to social media. The .com boom was years ago. Yeah. And it's almost old news.
Because our industry is considered very analog. It's not digital. It's a physical service. And I'm like, like you and I, we have distinct issues, getting clients because we're men or whatever. it was very common. I tell this story all the time. A young lady would come in and get a session with me. We'd be an hour into the session, and my sessions are 3 hours. And she'd say, Robert, I was worried you might be a serial killer. And I'm like, well, could be. I mean, I could compost you in the yard. It could be Dexter. It could be drinking sheets and whatever. And then I was like, what, you were concerned about that. What got you over the hump? And she's like, oh, I watched like 10 of your YouTube videos. It was obvious you were a consummate professional. Cha-ching.
Right on.
That is why I'm so adamant about it. And it also helps you filter the kind of people who really want to work with you. If there's some of your personality in your videos, if there's some of your personality about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, some of your personality about where you grew up around Dallas, some of your personality about various things, it helps humanize the brand. Even if you're a big facility, how do you humanize the brand? Build connections.
And we said it before, that's the, being a human is connection and interaction and intimacy, but not in a sexual way, but something close that two people may share. Like giving a massage, it is intimate in many ways. I lost my train of thought, what I was thinking, but having at the beginning, you have to
for him. I'll close it out. Hold on. Are you still there? Yeah, you're still there. Okay.
I'm still here.
Good. Okay, so this was Tim McCoy. He's part of Defuse Therapy. If you want to say anything to close this episode out, basically if you want to promo anything, if you got anything coming up, and this is your time to shine.
Man, Robert, dude, thanks for having me in, man. We always talk, we can talk for hours and things like that. Really, man, if you want to, catch Robert and I in action in person, I try to make it out to his Thai massage jams quite a bit. I do offer C's here in South Austin as well, too, or the greater part of Austin. So I'll have some classes and things like that coming up. You can look at that information on my Facebook and Instagram. I'll pop some more of that information out later on. But yeah, man, it's just great to actually be on here and actually talk to Robert and get some connections with some other therapists out there. That's kind of the real goal this past year, was really trying to get out and see what other therapists were doing and really connect with them. So man, if you guys come out and check my Facebook and Instagram, give me a holler, that'd be awesome.
Great. Thank you so much for being on the program, Tim. We'll go ahead and do this again soon. We can go into a bit more depth about some various topics. If you have any specific ideas, just let me know.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Tim.